Have you ever found yourself waking up at around 3 a.m., the room still and dark, with no clear reason why your sleep was interrupted? If so, you're not alone. Many older adults notice this exact pattern, a peaceful night that suddenly interrupted in the early morning hours. While it might seem like a problem at first glance, this experience often reflects natural, age-related changes in the body's internal systems. One of the most significant factors is the gradual decline in melatonin, the hormone that helps regulate our sleep-wake cycle. When we're younger, melatonin levels rise in the evening and remain elevated through the night, guiding us into deep, uninterrupted rest. As we age, however, melatonin production begins to decrease. As a result, while falling asleep may still come easily, staying asleep becomes more difficult, particularly in the early morning when melatonin levels drop off even further. Consider Mr. Gerald Whitman, a 72-year-old retired engineer. For most of his life, he prided himself on being a sound sleeper, but in recent years, Gerald began waking up consistently just after 3 a.m. With no particular worries on his mind, he found himself puzzled by these early awakenings. After speaking with a sleep specialist, Gerald learned that melatonin reduction was a common part of aging. Taking this into account, he made a few small but meaningful changes. He dimmed the lights in his home after dinner, avoided screens during the late evening, and made a habit of taking a brief walk around the neighborhood before bed. These changes helped reinforce his body's natural rhythms, encouraging more consistent sleep and fewer early morning disruptions. Another common reason for early waking is what researchers call an advanced sleep phase. As we age, our internal body clock tends to shift, nudging us to feel sleepy earlier in the evening and wake up earlier in the morning. This shift can lead to a natural waking time around 3 or 4 a.m., particularly if one has gone to bed relatively early. Mr. Bernard Lowe, 68, had always been an early riser, but after retirement he noticed his bedtime creeping earlier and earlier, sometimes as early as 8:30 p.m. Naturally, his wake-up time followed suit. When he began waking at 3 a.m., he initially worried that something might be wrong. However, after learning about advanced sleep phase, he gently adjusted his evening routine, choosing to stay up a little later, reading, listening to music, or chatting with his wife. By slowly pushing his bedtime closer to 10 p.m., he found that his wake-up time gradually shifted as well, giving him longer stretches of rest. These changes, declining melatonin and an advancing sleep phase, are not necessarily signs of illness or dysfunction. They are instead natural adaptations. The body is adjusting its rhythms in response to aging, and understanding this process helps us respond with greater patience and care. It's also important to recognize that aging doesn't necessarily mean less sleep overall. Many older adults still need between 7 to 8 hours of sleep per night. The challenge is often not in getting enough rest, but in adjusting to new patterns, different sleep timing, lighter stages of sleep, and sometimes a greater sensitivity to disruption. This new phase of sleep doesn't have to be met with frustration. With a few thoughtful changes, such as creating a calming bedtime routine, minimizing artificial light in the evening, and avoiding long naps in the afternoon, it's possible to improve both the quality and timing of rest. In truth, these 3 a.m. awakenings may be the body's quiet signal for attention, not a problem to fix, but a shift to acknowledge. They offer a chance to rethink how we approach rest and how we support our body's changing needs. When met with understanding and gentle intention, this new rhythm of sleep can become not just manageable, but meaningful. As the years unfold and life becomes quieter, the nighttime hours often take on a different character. For some, these early morning awakenings are not just a physical shift, they are also a gentle reflection of the inner world. It's in the stillness of 3 a.m. that thoughts grow louder, memories surface, and subtle emotions rise to the forefront. Many older adults, like Mrs. Evelyn Carrington, a 74-year-old former teacher, notice that even when their bodies are ready for sleep, their minds may not follow so easily. Evelyn often described how she would wake in the early hours with her thoughts already alert, replaying conversations, recalling distant memories, or reflecting on things left undone. "It's like my mind has its own wake-up call," she once said with a chuckle. What Evelyn experienced is not uncommon. With age often comes increased sensitivity to stress and emotion. While responsibilities may lessen in retirement, reflections on life, loss, or health may grow deeper. This emotional activity, often simmering quietly during the day, can emerge more strongly during the night, when distractions fade and the world becomes still. In these moments, sleep is interrupted not just by hormonal shifts, but by the weight of thought. Additionally, mental health challenges such as anxiety or depression can subtly affect sleep, often without overt symptoms during the day. Older adults may not always describe themselves as anxious or depressed, but early morning waking can be a gentle indicator. This is why listening closely to one's emotional patterns is so important, especially if the early awakenings are accompanied by restlessness, sadness, or a sense of unease. Mr. Howard Lynn, a 70-year-old widower, began waking up around 3:30 each morning after his wife passed away. Though outwardly composed, he felt a quiet heaviness that he hadn't fully processed. It was during these early hours that the house felt its most silent, and his loss its most present. Over time, with the support of a counselor and a local bereavement group, Howard began speaking more openly about his feelings. As he allowed space for his grief during the day, his nights began to soften as well. But emotional health is just one piece of the puzzle. Physical health, too, plays a role in shaping sleep in later years. Conditions such as arthritis, heart disease, and diabetes can disrupt rest, either through discomfort or through the medications used to manage them. Pain may become more noticeable at night, and certain medications can interfere with the sleep cycle, particularly in the early morning hours. Ms. Marjorie Ellis, a 76-year-old with long-standing joint pain, found that her sleep was frequently interrupted around 3 a.m. It wasn't until she spoke with her doctor that they adjusted the timing of her pain medication, allowing her to manage her symptoms more evenly through the night. "It wasn't that I was waking because I was old," she later remarked. "I was waking because my body was speaking, and I finally listened." The key lies in observation and gentle curiosity. Not every 3 a.m. waking is a sign of emotional turmoil or medical concern, but if it happens frequently and is paired with other symptoms, it's worth exploring. Is the body trying to communicate something? Is there unresolved stress, discomfort, or a need for greater support? Sleep, after all, is not separate from the rest of life. It is intimately connected to how we move through our days, what we carry emotionally, how we manage our health, and how we care for our inner world. Recognizing this connection allows us to respond to disrupted sleep not with frustration, but with compassion and understanding. Creating a calming routine before bed, engaging in light mindfulness or journaling, or speaking with a supportive friend or professional can all help in navigating these early morning moments. Sometimes, just having a warm cup of tea and sitting quietly by the window for a few minutes is enough to ease the return to rest. The 3 a.m. hour may seem lonely at first, but it can also be a gentle teacher, inviting us to slow down, tune in, and honor the inner shifts that come with age. And in doing so, we may find not only rest, but peace. As the quiet hours of the night grow longer with age, the early morning waking that once felt like a disturbance can gradually become a chance for insight, healing, and practical care. Many older adults, once puzzled by their 3 a.m. awakenings, begin to understand that sleep in later life simply needs a different approach, one that respects the rhythms of the aging body and honors the subtle shifts in emotion and energy. Take, for instance, Mr. Samuel Dorsey, an 81-year-old retired pharmacist. After months of waking at 3:15 a.m., he decided to treat the experience with curiosity rather than frustration. Instead of lying awake and worrying, he created a simple ritual, a few deep breaths, a gentle stretch, and sometimes a brief note in his bedside journal. "I stopped fighting it," he shared, "and I started listening to what my body was asking for." This kind of intentional adjustment is key. As people age, the body produces less melatonin, the hormone responsible for regulating sleep, and internal circadian rhythms shift naturally. Sleep may come earlier in the evening and wane earlier in the morning. For many, this means adjusting not only expectations but daily habits. Establishing a consistent bedtime and wake-up schedule, even on weekends, can help re-establish balance. It may sound simple, but regularity in sleep and wake times trains the body to follow a more stable rhythm. Just as importantly, exposure to natural daylight in the morning and reduced screen time in the evening can help reinforce these cycles. For many older adults, taking a morning walk or simply sitting near a bright window soon after waking can do wonders. Of course, sleep hygiene matters too. Avoiding stimulants like caffeine late in the day, keeping naps brief and early, and ensuring the bedroom is cool, quiet, and dark all contribute to deeper rest. A light snack before bed may also help, especially if low blood sugar is contributing to early waking. Something as simple as a banana or a few crackers can ease the body through the night. But sometimes even the best habits are not enough on their own. This is where communication becomes vital. If early morning waking is persistent and disruptive, and especially if it is accompanied by mood changes, chronic pain, or fatigue during the day, it may be time to talk with a healthcare provider. Sleep disorders such as sleep apnea or restless leg syndrome are more common with age and are treatable once identified. Ms. Lillian Grace, 78, had been waking multiple times each night for nearly a year before she mentioned it during a routine checkup. Her doctor recommended a sleep study, which revealed a mild form of sleep apnea. With a few adjustments and a small device, Lillian soon found her sleep becoming deeper and more restorative. "I thought it was just part of getting old," she said, "but it turns out there was help waiting. I just had to ask." Beyond medical support, emotional support also plays a powerful role. Community, companionship, and purpose all influence how we sleep. Loneliness, which can quietly grow in older adulthood, often shows up first in the silence of night. Finding ways to remain connected through family visits, hobby groups, volunteering, or even just a weekly phone call can lift not only the spirit but the quality of rest. And for those moments when waking still comes early, it helps to have gentle tools on hand. A guided meditation, a calming audiobook, soft music, or even simply acknowledging the wakefulness without judgment can turn restlessness into peace. Not every awakening needs to be solved. Sometimes the stillness itself holds value. Over time, many older adults discover that sleep need not be perfect to be meaningful. The goal shifts from chasing uninterrupted hours to cultivating a night that feels restful, nurturing, and kind to the body and mind. There's wisdom in this transition, a letting go of the rigid expectations of younger years in favor of a more compassionate approach. As Mr. Dorsey once remarked, I've learned to respect the night as much as the day. Sometimes it whispers things I need to hear. That shift, from resistance to acceptance, from anxiety to understanding, is where the true rest begins. And so, while 3 a.m. may still come, it no longer has to bring worry or fear. Instead, it can become a gentle moment of pause, a quiet part of the rhythm of a life well lived.